Welcome to Muslim Apologetics Australia. Today I want to discuss the apparent death of Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. As you know, the counter-terrorism operation conducted by the United States Special Forces, they apparently went in and killed Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. But, when I listened to the press conference done by Donald Trump, I think he's a comedian, even the way he says the things that he reports on. He makes a great comedian. And I don't know whether this is staged. I'm not sure, but I'm going to entertain a few ideas and you can think about them. But to me, I'm not really a conspiracy theorist, but it seems as though this has all the signs of it being a false flag. And so I just want to put this information out there. You could decide whether you want to believe it or not. It's up to you. We can agree to disagree, no problem. But this is my take on it. I mean, the first news broke out that the American Special Forces were conducting an operation against Baghdadi in the eastern part of the northeastern part of Syria. And then later we heard Donald Trump say that the operation consisted in the northwest part of Syria. And I thought, hang on, there's a bit of a contradiction coming out in the news. And so it didn't really seem, it seemed from the get-go that there were things that were already inconsistent in the reporting. Now, as you all know, we all want this terrorist organization to go, which is ISIS or ISIL. I mean, I don't want the YPG to exist too, the SDF, the PKK. I think there are lots of terrorist organizations there. But looking at Donald Trump's comments on how he actually reported it, it seems to me that he was just trying to please the international community. And what way better for the US to now come out and claim that they've killed Baghdadi? And you may say, well, they did. It's evidence. They've got DNA. They've got proof. Well, apparently this happened many times over. I mean, it's not just coming from a Muslim. Westerners themselves have said that Baghdadi has killed, someone actually said he's been killed about 10 times. And so it's not something that, we're just simply disagreeing because we think of conspiracy theories. No, apparently, Baghdadi himself, if you go to Wikipedia and you look up Baghdadi and his life, he's actually called the Invisible Man. So the US go out, they do counter-operation, they claim they've killed him, and the guy just pops out a few months later. So we need to be open-minded with the things that are going on, and we need to look at things in context, contextualize it, and see that things aren't really adding up. As you know, for the last few weeks, the American government has been under great scrutiny by the international community. For example, the pullout of the US forces from northern Syria has been condemned by the international community because it is believed that the United States has betrayed the Kurds because that was their protection. The Kurds were protected by the United States to control the northern region of Syria. And since the Turks came in and started controlling and pushing back the Kurds for a safe zone, this angered the Kurds, and they felt that they were betrayed by the Americans, who actually agreed with the Turks to pull out of northern Syria. And the international community was very angry, was very upset with this, and they looked at America as the great betrayal, since the Kurds helped America in their anti-terrorism projects. So my theory is America, because they looked at it and said, hey, look, the international community is looking at us as the great betrayers. So you know what we'll do? Let's make our withdrawal a little bit more legitimate. So let's go out and claim we've killed Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, and you know what? That would now justify our position in leaving Iraq or Syria. So what better way to stage an event? I mean, they've been looking for this guy for the last 6 years. Right? So what? All of a sudden, coincidentally, soon as you pull out, in 48 hours, you start conducting all these operations secretly, and within about a week or so, less than 14 days, you claim that you've killed Baghdadi? I mean, come on. It sounds a little bit fishy. Now, I know some people may say, well, it's not staged and they really did kill him, because it will look a little bit stupid that, Baghdadi will sooner or later appear in a television show and claim that he wasn't killed. Now, there's 2 points to that in response. America didn't really bother looking stupid after trying to kill him 10 times. That's point number one. So I guess they don't care about looking stupid later, so long as the international community lays off America during their withdrawal. And the second point of contention is, if Baghdadi is actually a CIA agent himself working for the American intelligence, then it's not very necessary for him to come out later on and embarrass the American government. All he has to do is shave off his beard, shave his hair, have a completely different look, and just wait for the next American project. Now, you may be saying, well, Mustafa, why are you saying these things? Why are you saying that this is all staged? How can you believe in this conspiracy theory? Why would the American government do that? Well, it's very simple. Donald Trump, without any embarrassment or any shame, he started speaking about putting his hands on the natural resources of another country. Yes, he started speaking about oil. And according to the United Nations, it is illegal to take the natural resources of another country. And Donald Trump was open and transparent in saying that. And I'll put a hyperlink below this video so you can see it for yourself, where I've recorded his audio where he expressed that multiple times, that he condemned the Bush administration for going into Iraq, but he said that, the Bush administration should have taken the oil. And he tried to say, well, we've spent millions of dollars in, trying to fight Saddam Hussein, then that should justify us taking that oil, right? So that was his justification. But then you think to yourself, well, what is this about? Is this war about terrorism? Or is this war about profit? Is it about selling arms, selling weapons, creating a boogeyman, creating terrorist organization to continue to supply weapons? That's what it is. And for me, Donald Trump is a businessman. All for him, it is about money, 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 money. Okay, so if you're going to profit from this war, why not get involved? And that's what I believe has happened here. It's all about the oil. It's all about the natural resources. Terrorism is just a smokescreen. These people have probably created that terrorist organization to justify why they're actually there in the first place. Otherwise, I mean, you can't just grab your war tanks, your ships, and just rock up to a country and say, I want your oil, right? So you're going to create a boogeyman, a false flag, a terrorist organization, and say, look, we're going to kill him, but in return, look at all the great favors we've done to your country, and now give us that oil that we've been after, right?
I opened the door and I saw a helicopter hovering around 15 meters above the ground and another one right behind it. There were no shots fired at first, and then suddenly there was gunfire and the helicopter began firing back.
Inside the house, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, along with several of his wives and children. The house, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, along with several of his wives and children. The leader attempted to flee but ended up cornered in a tunnel. That's when he detonated his suicide vest, killing himself and 3 of his children. The IS...
Now, see, it just really doesn't look consistent because, you know, Donald Trump actually said, and here's another point, Donald Trump actually said they had canines running after this guy in the tunnel, yeah? And this guy was like whimpering and crying, you know. But then that particular area, it looks like a bomb just fell on it. It doesn't look like US Army were running with their dogs in the tunnels. And Donald Trump said no one got injured. And not even the dog got killed in this. So Baghdadi blows himself up, right? And not even a dog gets killed. And this dog is supposed to be sniffling and trying to track Baghdadi through the tunnel. Now, Donald Trump says it was a movie. And I'm thinking to myself, well, you know, great movie that is. He says that he watched it. He's seen the whole movie. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, great. All right, we'll put my conspiracy theory to dead. I would like the US government to show us the video. Upload it. I mean, you've shown others in the past. How about this one? So we would like to see it, besides the claim that you've got DNA evidence of him. If you've got footage, you've obviously got footage of you guys going in, shooting people, looking at caves, looking at an underground tunnel, and seeing the opening. We should see that in the footage. And so I would like to see that. I don't know whether the US administration is going to release that to the media, and if it does, then I'd like to have a closer look at it to put my conspiracy theory suspicions aside. But until then, I'm just going to believe in my conspiracy theories. And we've seen this being played out before. We've seen what they've done to bin Laden, you know, and they've basically taken his body, dumped it into the ocean, you know, got rid of the evidence. I mean, I actually predicted, before this news came out, I actually said in a Facebook comment, I said, you know what, they're probably just going to throw his body in the ocean, just like Osama bin Laden, and that's it. They're going to dispose of the evidence. And something relatively close happened here, where, yes, they didn't throw his body into the ocean, but they claimed that he had a suicide vest and he blew himself into smithereens, which is equivalent to disintegrating yourself into the ocean. No different from that. So, yeah, and I thought to myself, look, things aren't really adding up here. And we saw a very similar story between the two. With Baghdadi, he was captured after US withdrawal from Syria. With Osama bin Laden, he was captured after US withdrawal from Iraq, when they were just starting to withdraw. Not completely, but they were starting to withdraw, and they captured bin Laden. With Baghdadi, they said small children were with him. With Osama bin Laden, they said the same thing. They said small children were with him. With Baghdadi, they said the remaining corpse were concealed. With Osama bin Laden, again, the remaining corpse were again concealed for investigation. With Baghdadi, it was a night raid with helicopters. With Osama bin Laden, it was night raid with helicopters. With Baghdadi, job was to kill him and not capture. And I find this really strange. I'm thinking to myself, why aren't you really capturing this person? Because you could get so much more internal information from him. Because we know that when you kill a terrorist leader, what happens? He gets replaced by another terrorist leader. So it seems a little bit odd. It's about killing and not capturing. So Baghdadi, when they went out, it was about killing and not capturing. And the same thing happened with Osama bin Laden. It wasn't about capturing, it was about killing. Baghdadi died whimpering and crying, and Osama bin Laden died hiding behind a woman. Do you see the connection between the two? So you can see a clear connection between the two because they're trying to portray, look, they were cowards. And that was a message. And I'm not denying that. I'm not saying that these terrorists aren't cowards. Of course they are. But they need to mention that in their reporting. And I think that someone is really writing the same script. This is what we need to do. Death confirmed by DNA, that's what they did with Baghdadi, and they did the same analysis with Osama bin Laden. And my point here is this. When people lie, they show traits of lying in the storyline. And this is what I'm finding quite fascinating. And I really don't understand this. US Special Forces and investigative units should be at the the actual site of where they claim they've, had this confrontation with al-Baghdadi. They should be searching through the rubble. They should still be collecting information. Maybe they could collect more software, data. They could find other evidences to continue their counter-terrorism operation in trying to break down ISIS. I mean, this is the headquarters where he's hiding. So it seems to me they blew the place up, they collected a bit of data and DNA, and they've just abandoned the place. That to me sounds a little bit odd, that they would do that so suddenly. It reminds me of September 11, where, the buildings crashed, the buildings fell, and they basically got rid of all the debris. They shipped it all out, all the evidence out, and removed it without constantly investigating the crime scene. So I find that a little bit odd that they'll do that. It seems to me that, as soon as they reach their objective, they then end up killing their boogeyman. When they went into Iraq, they devastated that country, bombed the hell out of Saddam Hussein, claimed there were weapons of mass destruction, and that was a lie, the weapons of mass destruction. There was no weapons of mass destruction. They went in anyway, they killed Saddam Hussein, and they basically killed the whole country before taking control of the oil fields and all the natural resources. And then later on, they said, yep, we've killed Saddam Hussein, which they did, obviously. And, they weren't shy in that. They didn't hide Saddam Hussein's body. They showed how they got him out. They gave him to the people. Those people hanged him. But we're not seeing that with Osama bin Laden. We're not seeing that with Baghdadi. Why didn't they hand him over to the Iranians, or why didn't they hand him over to the Iraqi people or the Kurds so they could hang him? they could have done that, but no, they've conveniently said, no, he blew himself up, or, we went and shot and killed Osama bin Laden, who was apparently just hiding behind a woman, right? But they had to kill him anyway. And so it's not really adding up that they would simply just not do that and just conceal the evidence. And so, again, they said there were nuclear weapons, there were bombs, there were weapons of mass destruction. There was nothing like that. So they basically went into Iraq. After they've destroyed that country, they've gone out and said, yep, we've got rid of Saddam. And then they've gone out to kill Osama bin Laden, as they've claimed, after reaching their objective. And here in Syria, we've seen the same trait. We've seen, hey, look, we now have control in northern Syria. We've got control over the oil fields. We haven't killed Baghdadi yet, but, we'll just leave that aside. We'll keep Baghdadi there as our little puppet. We can just keep pulling him out of our hat. We can keep pulling him out of our pocket whenever we want to go and invade another country and claim that Baghdadi is running that country. So we'll just use him. But they couldn't really continuously display him and use him because they were looking bad in the eyes of the international community for pulling out of northern Syria. So they said, okay, look, we'll come up with a new plan. We'll get rid of Baghdadi this time, just so it looks better in the eyes of the international community while we're pulling out, so we don't look like we're really betraying the Kurds. At least this way we could tell the Kurds, look, we've killed a man, so now we're pulling out. That gives us a justified reason for pulling out. Because, we've got all the oil that we need and all the oil that we want. We've already got control over it. So they basically thought, we'll get rid of Baghdadi because later on we'll just create another boogeyman when we're invading another country once we run out of our natural resources in northern Syria. So yes, United Nations, please release this movie video so we can all watch it and see for ourselves, or maybe they need a bit of time still trying to do the final analysis and video editing through Hollywood. I don't know. Why are they waiting? Let's see the video. Come out, show us the video, and put all our conspiracy theories to dead so we can take off our tinfoiled hats and no longer believe in this conspiracy theory.